What's going on, people? Welcome to the X-Men Days of Future Past. Spoiler alert. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by a very loud Riku-san 1.
Spoiler! What's good?
Brian Munjoma.
Hey, people. What's good?
And Mr. Chris Seeley.
Good talk about them movie films.
That's right. All right, guys. So, yeah, X-Men Days of Future Past. I'm just going to say it right now. Best movie I've seen this year. Best X-Men movie out of all of them. I'm just saying it. This movie was fucking incredible, man. I don't even know where to start with this shit. It's just like, whoo. You know what? Actually, I know where to start. I'm going to start where, I wanted to save this for later. I'm going to start this now. Brian, what were we talking about just before this? The age that we live in. Tell me exactly what you just told me.
Oh, it's a great time to live in. It's like we have so many different comic book movies, and the best things are they're all actually being done really well. Like especially on the Marvel side, like the DC side is also good, but the Marvel side is just bringing it to almost a movie every other year, and it's a great time to live in because if I could go back in time and talk to my 12-year-old self and say, hey, look, there'll be movies with Iron Man and the Hulk and Spider-Man and Batman and Superman, and they'll all be great as the cartoon shows that you're watching now, I wouldn't believe myself. I honestly wouldn't.
Yeah, because there was a point in time where you just imagine oh my God, could you imagine if we had Riku? Can you please stop making noise, dude?
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. So yeah, it's like there was a time where I'm like, an X-Men movie. Could you imagine? Like I remember when Wizard ran a thing. Like imagine if it did an X-Men movie. Imagine this cast. By the way, the one person they got correct was Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Just imagining what these movies would be like if they were actually made, let alone be good, because we had superhero movies before, but they were shit. Remember the Captain America movies? Ooh, an Italian Red Skull, people. I'm not making that up. So yeah, now going into this era, and this all started with Blade. The first Blade kind of set this whole shit off. And now we live in an era where we have 4 X-Men movies. 5th one is coming. And 3 out of those X-Men movies are really fucking amazing. That's great. I could never have imagined this shit. So it's just awesome. And this one, okay, I was really worried about X-Men Days of Future Past because the story itself is one of my favorite stories of all time. And this is one of the few times, and I will probably get flack for this, I think the movie version of Days of Future Past is better than the comic book version of Days of Future Past. It hit all the same notes, but better. I'm just amazed. This one of those movies, it's just like I told you, it's like, I want to go back and see this shit now, man. Ooh, so good. So good. Yeah, I know, Riku, go ahead, because I know you were saying the same thing. You're like, this is better than Captain America, and some people were like, what? They didn't believe you.
No. I haven't seen Captain America. That was the problem.
Ah, okay.
But everyone that I was talking to and the people I went to see it with preferred Winter Soldier over Days of Future Past. And I just downloaded Winter Soldier. I'm going to watch that tonight. And I just don't know if I would like Winter Soldier more than Days of Future Past, because everyone I was hearing it from, they're like, "Oh, it's better by far." I'm like, "By far, really? Is it really that good?" It's Captain America. I know you can have a really good story and all that, but I'll have to see it for myself because I really did like Days of Future Past, especially for the main reason that you guys said earlier before we started, the fact that it made The Last Stand irrelevant.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Actually, go finish up your point, then we'll get to that, because man.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a clap right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was going to save that for the end of the show, but I gotta say it's now. This movie was great on its own, but the fact that it erased the shittiest X-Men movie, X-Men 3, makes it fucking amazing. Because X-Men 3 was crap. Everything about that movie was wrong on every single level. Like, I don't know how deep you want to get into that movie. Maybe we'll do that a little later. But yeah, I'm just glad it's gone. And Manny by the way, Manny was supposed to be here, but he couldn't. He texted me like, dude, bring up the fact that this erases X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was the other shitty X-Men movie.
It might have been shittier. I don't know which was worse.
Origin.
I don't know what was worse. Was Origins worse than X-Men?
I think Origin was worse than Last Stand. I think just by far it was like a horrible character's tale.
I would say Origins is worse only because of 2 reasons. One, the Last Stand, even though it was bad, it had a bunch of characters in it, and all of the scenes were crazy, even though we didn't believe in them. They were crazy. But when it came to Origins, first of all, they fucked up Deadpool. Royally fucked up Deadpool.
Yeah, they fucked up.
Exactly.
They fucked up every character. I mean, that
Yeah.
was like the worst version of Gambit ever created.
Yeah, they fucked
The
it.
Deadpool was terrible.
Sabretooth
Every
is
blob, I don't
mediocre.
know, everyone was bad. It was awkward comic relief for no reason. Like Wolverine's like, "Ooh, I have claws," and then he like messes up a bathroom, and there was all this stupidity in that movie.
What sucked about that movie was I like the first 30 minutes were actually really good. That's the thing that gets me. It was actually really good when it was just focusing on Wolverine's past and stuff, where he was like James, and then in the World Wars and stuff. That was cool. And then when he goes into the Wolverine part, it gets stupid. But I don't want to talk about that piece of shit anymore. Let's talk about this. So this movie is effectively the sequel to the Wolverine. Remember how that movie ended? Like,
Yes.
you know, it was like, hey, Wolverine, we need you for this. That it's kind of pretty much a sequel to that, and I find it interesting how they went this path. Like, hey, let's throw Sentinels in there. It's the future and stuff. Let's talk about the futuristic scenes for a second. What did you guys think of all those cool characters they threw in there? Like, I saw Sunspot in there. I saw Warpath. There was Blink, Bishop, all those guys. What did you guys think of all those characters?
I like the subtle introduction of each one. Like, you know who each of them are without names being thrown around. Like, you see, like, Bishop absorbs some power from Sunspot, and then he powers up his gun. You know, like, oh shit, it's Bishop, and you see the little M tattoo, like, etched in his face. And the Blink thing was amazing. Those effects were really well done. Everybody like flipping it through her portals.
Yeah, Blink was probably doing. At each and every time that they were fighting, I felt that Blink was doing the most work out of all of them.
Dude, she was easily the MVP of those things.
Yeah, seriously, I felt like Sunspot and Iceman were just like almost battling each other. Like the Sentinels were like, "Oh, I'll take your power and fuck you up," and the guy did the opposite. I felt so bad for them.
Burned Iceman and froze Sunspot. Like, wow,
yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the thing about that intro though. It kind of reminded me of Terminator. Remember where all those skulls and stuff? That was fucked up, man.
Yeah,
it was good.
But go ahead.
Yeah, Blink.
No, Riku.
Definitely. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you can go ahead, Riku.
Oh no, I was saying Blink. She definitely put in work because she was dropping portals. She was dodging all that stuff, and every time they need to change location, that was her job. She was doing like 3 or 4 things in that whole, every time Sentinel fiasco broke out. But that one time where she tried to drop a portal and then the Sentinel stabbed through the portal and got her. I was like, damn.
But I have a question though, and
what's up?
I didn't understand this. Since when did Kitty Pryde was able to like project into your brain? What was that?
I'm glad you bring that up because that's the one thing about the movie that bothered the shit out of me. That's not her power. She has one power only. She can phase through shit.
Yes, and we saw her do that. Yeah, like, so you know who she was because she grabbed Bishop and she phased him to the walls. But then when they got to that safe room and she's like, okay, like, relax. And then she started, beams were coming out of her hand into his brain. And I was like, wait, what power is that?
Yeah, it's called the power of convenience. Because
it was definitely.
Yeah, because in the original story, it was a machine,
Yeah, it was definitely a story plot.
Yeah,
plot device. I mean, plot device.
Yeah, plot device. But I mean, I at least wish they would have said, "Hey, Kitty, can you use your second power?" I wish somebody would have at least said something. It's like that's not her power, man. Like if you watch the other X-Men movie, the first X-Men First Class, you know that mutants can have 2 powers. Like Emma Frost, she had the power of telepathy, and she could turn to crystal. Okay, if you're gonna give her that extra power, fine, but at least
explain it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, Kitty, you just magically have this power now. It's like, okay. And that's what happened. Like, basically, they're like, hey, this future is all fucked up. We need to change it. So let's send Wolverine back. Because he was, like, the only one that could physically make it back all those decades, right?
Yeah, that was yet another plot device. Because, obviously, if you know the comic version, it wasn't him who went back.
Yeah, it was her. She went back.
Yeah, so it was just like, I think it would have just been a lot. Obviously, it was a lot more interesting to send Wolverine back versus Kitty, because honestly, if Kitty went back, first of all, she wasn't even born, so if she met Professor X and all that stuff, she would have been like, who are you? And all of the dialogue would have been not as good versus, Wolverine.
Yeah, because in the original book, she did go back into her younger self, but the X-Men were already formed. In this movie, she wasn't even born in the 70s, so it
Yeah.
wouldn't have worked at all. You're right about that. And they couldn't use Professor X because they wanted to toss him back in time, but he wouldn't be able to survive the trip. So, yeah. And also, you know why they sent Wolverine back, because it's fucking...
Oh, yeah.
That's right. He's the selling point of the movie. So
Exactly. Even though I find it interesting that he is the selling point of the movie, yet he wasn't really the main character.
Yeah.
He like as soon as he goes back, he is kind of the driving force, but he's not really the main character. He kind of focuses more on Xavier and Magneto, which I thought was better.
Mystique. But
And
yeah.
exactly. You're right about that. You're right. All three of them basically.
Yeah, because when you think about it, when Wolverine went back, what did he do? Okay, he talked to Hank and Professor X. Yeah, he got him. He got the group together and whatnot. But every single time that there was a confrontational moment that needed to be taken care of, where was he? The first time when they were, trying to stop all Tyrion, I'm just gonna call him Tyrion. When they tried to stop old Tyrion and whatnot inside when they were having that meeting when Mystique was about to get caught, what was Wolverine doing?
he was having a seizure from seeing Stryker.
He was having a seizure on the floor, and everyone else had to deal with it.
That was convenient
That
too.
scene was awesome because I knew he was gonna flip out as soon as he saw Stryker. As a matter of fact, I actually wanted shit to go really bad. I wanted him to kill Stryker at that moment and totally fuck history up. That's what I kind of wanted to happen.
He probably didn't. He probably didn't notice that was actually Stryker since he was, Stryker was so young, but he was still having those, types of side
No,
effects.
he saw the dog tags.
He saw the dog text and his Wolverine. He probably smelled them. He's like, "Oh shit, that's Stryker." He knew who that
Flipped
was.
out.
He flipped out, but you're right about that. That was the first one. He didn't do anything for that confrontation.
And then the biggest confrontation at the end of the movie, when Magneto saw him. Every single time Magneto meets Wolverine, whether it's in a comic, a cartoon, an anime, a movie, Magneto always beats Wolverine. And you would think, oh, Wolverine doesn't have antimatter inside him. He has a chance. No, freaking Magneto sticks metal inside him and shoots him half across the map into water. I'm like, once again, you're irrelevant compared to Magneto.
Magneto did that a lot in this movie. It's like, hey, this shit doesn't have metal. Let me put metal inside of it so I can control it.
Exactly. He did that with two things. But that was really, what did you really even do? Like, the only fight I really remember Wolverine even being in was when he first woke up in the past and those guys were confronting him. Did he fight anyone else?
He fought them. He punched the Sentinel that one time, and that's it.
Yeah, and then he got worked.
Yeah, because I was talking about that before the show started. It's like it shows you just how I'm sorry to say it's how useless Wolverine is without his adamantium claws. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you gonna do with these bone shits against a Sentinel? Nothing. Beast has a better chance than you than fucking
Yeah. Speaking of Beast, when he first met Beast and he punched him, he said, "We're gonna be great friends." And the Beast like, and just went straight at him. Beast was working him until Professor X came in. Beast was working him, but yeah, like you said, Wolverine. He was technically the main character, but the story definitely did not revolve around him.
Yeah, and I think it's better that it didn't revolve around. It revolved around the three people from the first X-Men movie, because this is, it's a sequel to that as well, X-Men First Class. Mm-hmm. You had all those characters. Go ahead, dude.
I had one problem.
What's up?
So Magneto picks up a baseball stadium in Washington, D.C. that shouldn't be in use in 1973. Just a fun fact.
You got me and Rico don't watch sports, and
the Washington
Brian is not even American.
Yeah, because remember he lands on the field and the guy is like, the groundskeeper is like maintaining it.
Yeah.
I think that stadium was out of service in '71. The Washington Senators were not a team anymore, so it kind of should have been abandoned. Well, it's just like I was like, what? That stadium shouldn't be used anymore. Why is there anyone working in it?
Definitely a plot device, man.
I know, but I was like,
holy
shit, he picked up a whole fucking stadium.
Yeah,
it was like insane.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to bring up too, because we were talking about how Blink was using all her powers. That's one thing that movies could do that comic books kind of can't. They could show you different ways of these mutants using their powers. And what I liked about this movie was the way Magneto used his power. Like, it kind of captured what it did in the comics in a way. Like, it shows you how frightening this dude is with his powers, man. Like, damn, like you give him just a little bit of metal, that's it. He could fuck shit up, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well, I did appreciate the Quicksilver.
Oh yeah, I was
The
just about to mention
That
that.
was
the
great.
kitchen, yeah, the kitchen fight, like that was
That was probably the best part of the whole movie for me.
very classy with the classic rock he puts on, and he
Hmm
goes around just fucking with them, moving
Yeah,
them.
that
That
was
was
great.
so. That
So,
was. So
and it's just
good.
like a kid, like how a kid would handle it. It's like no big deal to him. He's like, let me move these bullets. I'll make you punch yourself. Here, have these guns. He like eats something along the way because he's moving so
Mhm.
fucking fast. He doesn't even care. I was like,
Yeah,
that's great.
Quicksilver. They did a great job. I wanted to. I was when I was watching, I was nitpicking just a tiny bit because the Quicksilver that I know is more of a dick. But I cut up some slack since this is the early. This is a early,
Yeah,
version
this
of Quicksilver.
yeah, exactly. But he was still kind of an asshole anyway, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just a little bit, but
He was a cocky little shit.
yeah.
But I guess if
Yeah.
you run that fast, you can be, right?
Oh
Oh,
yeah. He was running at hypersonic speed. He was just messing stuff up. I was kind of irked that after that one scene, he basically just disappeared. Like the only time we saw him after that was he was at his mom's house watching TV.
And
Oh,
who did he
what-
have in his lap? Did you see who he had in his lap?
Yep. I seen the
Had a
red-headed,
little
like,
red-headed girl.
I
I wonder
know
who
who
that
that
is.
Well,
I wonder-
There was a nice little touch where he's like, "Oh, this guy can manipulate metal. My mom knew someone who could do." I like that. I was
Yeah,
like,
that was
Yeah.
great. That was a nice
That was
little
good.
touch.
I was like,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, they're pointing in the right direction. I like this.
Yeah, I like the fact that with Quicksilver, the incentive they used to get him to break into the Pentagon was that he's breaking into the Pentagon. That's the only incentive he needed. It's like, dude, you want to break into the Pentagon? Let's go. It's like, okay, I'll do that. That sounds cool. It's awesome,
Had
man.
no clue who they really were or who he was breaking out. Nothing. He just like, ooh, this will definitely be something I could put into my mental resume. And he's like, let's go and do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's go back a little bit. So, what do you guys think of the whole thing with Professor X? Pretty much like he didn't want to, be like a mutant anymore. Like it was just too much pain for him to deal with all this shit with losing Mystique and Magneto and stuff. It was a different side of Xavier because Xavier was supposed to exemplify hope for mutants, and he was just like, "Fuck this! I'm just gonna stay in my little mansion and get drunk. That's all I give a fuck
I
about."
think it was great. I think it showed him to be very vulnerable, and
Yeah,
it
that
was
was
very.
good.
Oh, sorry. It was very analogous to like drug use in the 70s. Like he was using that serum as kind of like a narcotic to escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he just didn't want to deal with the voices. Also, he just wanted to walk, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
him
It was
and
a great vice. I think that was great to show him at like rock bottom, just alcoholic, a junkie basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was essentially. Yeah, that was true, and
Yeah,
it kind of made that little journey of his even like more poignant. Like he became the Professor X we know by the end.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When I like the part when he actually stopped taking the serum just for a while and he put on the helmet to try and find
Yeah,
Mystique and whatnot, and he couldn't do it, the whole machine just straight overloaded and whatnot. And when he was talking with Wolverine, and he basically looked into Wolverine's head and telepathically talked to himself in the future. I like that whole thing.
that was fantastic, man. That was great. That was a highlight of the movie right there for me. It's like that scene. It's like Professor X is talking to himself, and it's two different kinds of Xaviers. Right? You got the rock bottom Xavier that doesn't think anything of this is gonna work. And you have Xavier who's in the future about to die, and he's still giving this other guy hope. I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was-
it was pretty cool, but I just didn't like it from a logical point of view. It's like, so you enter this guy's mind, and then you manage to go technically into the future and talk to yourself in the future. It's like,
I mean, I felt when he looked into Wolverine's head. At that moment, he was looking into Wolverine's head. He was basically, how you can take over people's bodies. The way I looked at it was he basically took over Wolverine's body.
Professor
at that
X,
moment-
right?
Yeah, when Professor X, the young Professor X, took over Wolverine's body, he was technically, at the time, Wolverine with his powers. So since he was laying there, since Wolverine's real body was laying there in the future, he was technically laying there as himself in the future with his powers. And since he can project and sense stuff around him, so can the Professor X in the future. So they both connected and started talking and whatnot. That's the way I looked at it. Even
that's a very comic booky way of looking at it. That's probably exactly how it worked. That's probably exactly how it worked. It's weird, but it kind of makes sense. That's probably exactly what happened. But yeah, I like that. It was like Xavier giving hope to himself. It was pretty cool. One thing I want to talk about is because I wasn't, it's like we're talking about this movie's obviously using a lot of time travel devices. Okay, so in the world of the original X-Men, X-Men 1, X-Men 2, did Mystique kill Trask? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming she did, right?
I'm guessing that she had to.
But if the Sentinels were around in the 70s, how come they weren't around for the other movies? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, that's a huge gap. Yeah,
that's a
It wasn't when they said in the movie they said in the original timeline, Mystique was captured and used in order to
create
build the Sentinels,
make the Sentinels who they are in the future. Mystique was present in X-Men 1 and 2, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So that raises a question for me. If that was following the original timeline where Mystique got captured, what happened? If Mystique got captured by, the people and got used for Sentinels, did they release her? Did she escape?
I can only assume she would have escaped.
Yeah, you would think that she escaped. But they made it sound like she, they captured and killed her and dissected her and all this other stuff.
That's the thing, though. If they captured her, remember what Trask was saying? He was like, we need brain tissue. We need a spinal fluid. So that's what I'm saying.
That's what it made it seem like they straight dissected her and whatnot and used her.
Well, I guess he wanted that stuff, but see, in that timeline, he would have been dead. So you don't know what the other scientists following his work would have done.
That's true.
Yeah,
So,
maybe 50 years or so to actually break.
Maybe like a guy like Stryker took over and he kept her alive, and then somehow she escaped.
I have a theory. Yeah. I think this is what happened. In the original timeline that leads to the dark future, I think she kills Trask. They capture her. They take enough of her blood to just work with, right? But since Trask is dead, they can't proceed, and the Sentinels, those super Sentinels, were created years later. I think that's what happened.
Oh yeah,
in the original timeline.
Yeah.
And plus, I'm guessing that because in X-Men 3, when they were like doing the training room with the Sentinel, I'm guessing that at that point they could have like hinted that this thing was happening with the Sentinels.
That's a good way of seeing it. Yeah,
they probably knew of its existence, but it was probably like 95% done at the time, and they knew about it, and they were training for it.
Yeah. There's little things in this movie that it wants to jive with all the other movies, but they don't quite jive. Like Trask has his little mutant detector, the little thing he carries around that beeps at you, and it's like, oh, you're a mutant, It's like, and in 1973, if this was a big deal, if they know a mutant assassinated JFK, which they accuse Magneto of doing, and then he basically destroys the White House and all this shit, then if that goes along into the future, wouldn't more people be concerned? In the other movies, they weren't really concerned until they were doing stuff in those movies, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're right about that. So, maybe the whole fact that a mutant killed JFK was just kept under wraps from the public. Maybe that's why.
I guess, but the government would know. They knew.
Yeah. By the way, I want to ask a question. What was JFK's power? Remember what they said?
He could seduce women, man. He was a ladies' man. He was a mutant ladies' man. That was his power.
I'm sorry. The theater I was in, even myself, we kind of laughed at that part. It's like, really, JFK was a mutant now?
He was the smartest motherfucker ever. He stopped the missile crisis, the civil rights, everything.
Well, I don't know, but Magneto was the one that almost started the Cuban Missile Crisis.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. Let's talk about Magneto for a bit, because I like that whole thing with Xavier and him, how they kind of had to rebuild their quote unquote friendship again, man. I thought that was really well done in the movie too, and I like how when they first meet each other, Xavier just punches him in the face, and Magneto's like, "Okay, I guess I deserve that." Like he didn't even retaliate. I really. Because that's one of the things that like the comics don't even capture it kind of as well as they do in this one
Yeah.
movie, you know? Like the relationship they have is like, it's kind of tragic too, because they were best friends and then they got torn apart because of their differing ideologies. And just for the record, I still think Magneto's ideology is the correct one. I think kill all of them, you know? They don't like you, you know? But yeah.
I find it funny. It's kind of similar to the I hate bringing this up, but the Shane and Rick relationship.
Oh no.
Friends with different ideologies, but yeah, you're right. This movie definitely captured their friendship and everything in between. Like the one part I did like when they were on the plane.
Yeah.
And they were both arguing, and
that was awesome.
Magneto just straight started raising his voice, and he's like, "Whoa, the shit, the plane! You gotta stop!" And that was I like that part. And then
yeah, you know, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, because I there's something I need to say about that part, but go ahead.
And then Wolverine was like, "Oh, even in the past, you were kind of a dick. You want to pick all that shit up?" And he just starts going like, "Look at this dude. Aren't you supposed to be the main character? You're just sitting in the back making smart remarks."
That's how awesome Wolverine is.
That sounds good. Like, you gonna pick this shit up? Yeah, by the way, that one scene, and this is for, you know, we got a bunch of gaming journalist people, you know, here. We're gonna talk about this shit. That scene reminded me of Infamous Second Son. There was that one scene where, you know, those audio tapes you pick up and you hear about there was that one scene where like, oh yeah, so if a regular person has a bad day, you know, they may punch a hole in the wall. If a conduit has a bad day, there's going to be a body count of 20. So that was Magneto having a bad day. Imagine if it was an airplane full of people, they all would have fucking died. You know, it just reminded me of that. It's like mutants, you know, you got to be careful, especially fucking Magneto, because the whole plane looked like it was like crumpling in on itself and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That dude was pissed because he was like, you think you've suffered? What about what I've lost? It's like, oh shit, this dude is pissed.
Yeah.
You know, Magneto always has like calm kind of anger, right? So when he gets angry, you don't want to fuck with that dude, man.
Yeah, you definitely don't. In the, you know, the future Magneto, we've never seen that side of him because by that time he's already matured, and you'll never see that type of emotion come up. But since this is the past, and we get to see so much, you know, immature, exposed emotions, it was definitely interesting to see that side of him.
Same thing with Xavier too. I like seeing that. It's like it's not the same guy, you know.
It's completely different day and night between the two.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, their whole like relationship with Mystique basically being that one plot device between all of them. What do you guys think about that whole Mystique base?
I liked it, but here's the thing, and I just thought about this now. You think they brought up Mystique's, I guess, presence in the movie because of Jennifer Lawrence was not that big when the first X-Men First Class came out. Now she's fucking huge, so I'm wondering if they brought her up a little more. I personally didn't mind that. I thought it was great because that was a little bit of what kind of tied them together and what separated them in the first one. And even Beast has tied him to this too, because remember he had a thing for her too. Like you could in this movie, he looks at her a certain way. But I think it was important to have Mystique as kind of she really was, if you think about it, she was the central character, because if it wasn't for her, none of that future would have happened. So she really was the main character of the movie. But I like that whole little journey of hers where, you know, Xavier's telling her, like, you don't want to become this. You don't want to do this. It's this in you. Because remember, in his eyes, that's effectively his sister. You know, he grew up with her since they were little kids. So I thought that whole scene was great. I like how, you know, their banter and stuff. And then you got Magneto, who's kind of the wild card, who's trying to bring her into the dark side and stuff. I thought it was great. What about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, I found all of that stuff really interesting. Going back to that one scene where they're in the, you know, when Mystique was just about to assassinate Tyrion, and she got captured, but you know they were there to save her. And the fact that Magneto at the time thought, you know what, if we just killed Mystique right now, none of this will happen. And then Mystique tried to jump out the window, and then he shot the bullet and tried to curve it downwards, and then hit her calf and whatnot. I like that whole part because I'm like sitting there like, Magneto, you're not making anything better right now. Like, you would think, okay, Magneto in the future, obviously he was a part of, you know, he believes in changing what they have right now. and Magneto of the future is like definitely different from Magneto of the past. Obviously, Magneto of the past, he still is extremely ambitious and wants to, you know, make things the way he feels they need to go. And by killing me, I just find it so funny. One minute he wants to kill Mystique, and then the next minute he's like, "Oh well, they already got your blood, so I don't want to kill you anymore." Like,
yeah, he's
God.
reactionary. That's what it is. He's just acting from moment to moment. You know.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Peter Dinklage took Boulevard Trask, who's basically a blank slate. I mean, he's been in the comic, but what kind of character does he have?
Dude,
right?
you know what? You know what he did with him? He did what Robert Downey Jr. did with fucking Tony Stark. Tony Stark was kind of he wasn't really much of anybody in the comics. Now, in the comics, he's fucking Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I think Peter Dinklage did the same thing with Oliver Trask. He gave him character.
I think it was great. I think how he presented that role was excellent.
Yeah, I do need to bring this up because one thing bothered me about that, and I just need to say because Oliver Trask in this movie, he's a midget, right? And the X-Men just are supposed to represent the underclass of people, you know? Now, why would someone who's different from everybody else be against mutants when they're kind of in the same boat? You know what I'm trying to say? I find that really odd. Like, why are you against mutants? They're, you know, you are kind of a mutant yourself. You know what I mean? Like, not in the sense that you know, dwarfism is a mutation, but you're different than everybody else. So that kind of bothered me because I know for a lot of people, you know, I'm talking about, you know, if you're a minority, if you're crippled, if you're whatever, you identify with the X-Men because they represent you, you know? You're the outcast. Everybody hates you, but you are trying to be good. So why would he do that? I kind of didn't get that. Did you guys kind of find that weird too?
Do you remember the part where one of the scientists inside the when he was talking about how he needed, you know, spinal fluid, brain tissue, and all that stuff, and one of the scientists beside him said, "You really must hate these mutants and whatnot." And I can't remember his exact words.
He says he finds them fascinating, and I know what you're trying to get at. Where he basically said that he thinks mutants, like to him, mutants are kind of a means to an end. They can unite the world in their mutual hatred of mutants. You know what I mean? That like kind of like what happened with Watchmen. They were like, Dr. Manhattan did it. He's the one that's going to unite the entire planet, even though he had nothing to do with it. You know, it's kind of the same thing. But still, I found that kind of odd. I'm like, dude, you're kind of a little bit of an outsider of society. Why would you go against other people that are outsiders too? But I think
yeah, but it's just so funny that she's like, okay, technically, yeah, he is an outsider in his own way. So I think if there's any way he's coming at this and never wants to tell anybody, is that I'm an outsider, but they are more of an outsider than I am an outsider. So I need to focus all of humanity on them to take all of this, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Take all of this, you know, negativity off of what I am.
That's a good way of seeing it. That's interesting. It's like, because, you know, let's just be real. This is 1970s. He probably grew up in the 50s and shit. People were not very kind to disabled people back in those days. So you're right. Maybe that in a weird way, he's kind of using them to retaliate against. I don't know. I think I know what you're trying to get at. That's an interesting way of seeing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. But it did make the character more interesting. It's like, you should be for mutants. You know, yeah. I'm glad they didn't kill him, by the way, because I would have, you know, maybe they'll kind of bring him back some way, but, you know, who knows. But yeah, you're right about that, Chris. He really did a great job. You know, fantastic. That dude you know, I'm pretty sure he's going to win some shit for, you know, Game of Thrones and in this movie, because I was like, is he only good on Game of Thrones? No, he's just good in everything, because he's pretty fucking awesome, you know?
Yeah.
No, another thing I found odd was when they go to Vietnam, and there's the, you know, they have the quarantine of mutants, soldiers, and well, I found it cute, the little scene the Colonel walks in, and then he winked at you know, Havoc, and then he was like, what? He did the double take, like, what? Why'd he wink at me? And he realized it's Mystique. So I thought that was cute. That was a nod. Like, she's like, oh, it's Mystique, so that's why she winked at him. And also, like, he doesn't come back in the movie. I was like, oh, he's going to meet up with all of them, and he just disappears the rest of the movie. I found it odd.
Yeah, it's like the same issue that I had with Quicksilver. It's like he was there and then he wasn't there. It's like at times when a person with that much speed is incredibly useful, he's just not there.
Yeah, a guy with Power Blast, I mean, like, that would have really balanced out Xavier's side there. I mean, you know, Wolverine wasn't really doing anything. He could have really used them. He basically gets a free ticket back to America and just disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I just realized something because every time Quicksilver popped up, because they never called him Quicksilver, right?
Yeah.
No.
They never did. They kept calling him Peter, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, Peter. Right now, I just realized his name's supposed to be Pietro. It's not Peter. So I guess they just maybe they Americanized it in the movie or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
They
so.
definitely Americanized it.
No, but even in the X-Men cartoons, what was the one where like they were all young?
Evolution.
Oh, that's the X-Men cartoon I skipped, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they called him Pietro there as well.
Yeah, because that's his name. That is supposed to be Pietro. So I'm guessing they just Americanized it. They're obviously maybe from another country or something. They're supposed to be from another country anyway. Yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, the whole movie I was like bothered by it. I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be Pietro. That's why. You're right. They never called him.
Not notice that.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, okay, there was one scene. Remember when Wolverine went back into the future and it was just like his younger self, and he was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Why didn't he react when they called him Logan? I don't think he had the name Logan back then. He should have been, who the fuck is Logan? My name's Jimmy. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, because yeah, he's called Logan afterwards, not in the past.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you have to micromanage especially when there's comics of this stuff made years ago. There's so much stuff that you have to micromanage that there's no way that. I'm glad that they did as much as they could, but yeah, it's definitely not
I
perfect.
think also time travel is easy to mess up.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Really easy to fuck up, and they did it really simple, really well, which is why I was really pissed off with the people I saw the movie with. Were completely confused when the resolution happened and Mystique dropped the gun, and everybody in the future vanished. And I heard a collective like, "What the fuck happened?" And I was
You
like,
were in a
"Really?
theater full of morons, bro."
Were we not watching the same movie? Have we not all been paying attention? Do we need a blackboard like Doc Brown to explain what the fuck just happened?"
Did it not explain to you what was going to happen, like in the first 10 minutes of the movie when they did that?
Oh my god,
Like,
they kept.
They obviously explained it there. Like they did explain it exactly. Like, hey, this happened, so that's why the room was empty because the future was different. Ah.
I thought the everything in the
I'm sorry, that shit is hilarious. You're right, dude. They literally say, "Hey, if we go back in time and Mystique doesn't kill Trask, then none of this would happen." Then she doesn't kill Trask, doesn't happen, and they're confused.
I literally heard people
whispering.
whispering, "What just happened? Where'd everybody go?" And I'm like, "Were we not watching the same fucking movie?"
Hey, Chris, give context to the people. What did these people cheer during the credits?
Oh my god, they fucking loved. When we were watching the trailers, they were laughing at like the sex tape trailer, which I was like rolling my eyes and sighing. I'm like, "Oh my god, we're an idiocracy. Why not just have a movie about farts?" At this point, it's just ridiculous.
So and
they were
they cheer
excited for that.
Transformers, right? It's like that
Oh
lets
my
you know what
God.
kind of audience it is.
Yeah, they were cheering for Transformers. They were laughing at sex tape like it was the funniest thing they ever saw. And the cops, the pretend cops movie, they were like eating that up.
Oh my god, that was retarded. How you? Okay, they're literally making a movie about guys pretending to be cops. That's illegal. That's fucking illegal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that lets you know the type of people, like, if you like these kind of movies, if you're the Call of Duty crowd, I'm sorry to say, if you're the Call of Duty crowd, you probably, simple time travel is just over your head. Go ahead.
I just want to send an open letter to Hollywood. It's like, people don't pirate movies to, like, screw anyone out of a job or anything. Go to a movie and try to watch it with just a regular popcorn-eating cows, and you'll see why we download movies and want to watch them in our houses. This is why.
Okay.
I like the fact that
Go ahead, Riku.
Oh no, Brian, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
bro.
I have to give them that. Okay, sex tape and the cops one they are stupid as fuck. I have to admit that. But at least with Transformers, it's something cool. It's like Optimus Prime riding a Dinobot. That is passively tangible.
Compared to
A
the
little
cops,
bit. A little bit.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Compared to other shit, it's like, okay, the rest of shit is dumb, right? But this is like, okay, giant robot riding a giant robot dinosaur. It's like, That's pretty awesome.
This is a bit of a non sequitur, but right before this movie started, we were talking about movies that didn't understand the internet. Like they had the net, they had not Johnny Mnemonic, they had hackers. So when I saw that thing for a sex tape and they were talking about the cloud, I'm like, are they gonna call this the cloud?
And they did.
The power of cloud.
It's ridiculous. Go ahead,
Fucking
Rita,
dumb.
you're gonna say something?
Oh no, about the whole piracy thing and how we are eventually getting to the point where we prefer to watch our movies in our house. I really do like the fact that there are services out there that are giving us the option to watch movies on our streaming services as they either just appeared in theaters or appeared in theaters and now they're on here basically in like 2 weeks for like $14 and you can have it.
Yeah, no, I that's something I've always asked for, but I do like, going out with my friends to talk about movies and stuff afterwards. By the way, I just thought about this now. There was no Stan Lee cameo in this, was there?
Nope, there wasn't.
No.
I was waiting for it, but
I think he said he wasn't going to be.
I'm not gonna do this one, Marvel fans. I can't be in 4 X-Men movies.
I'm getting tired.
I'm getting tired. I've got to be in Avengers too.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still think he should have been there. Come on.
Yeah, I think so.
It took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It took 5 minutes. You walk in there, serve a hot dog, and leave.
Dude, how awesome would it have been if he looked the way he did in the 70s Stan Lee.
oh, yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome, yeah.
But then like they had to like CGI it like they did in X-Men Origins with Patrick Stewart.
Oh God, he'd look like that.
Oh,
Oh
creepy.
shit.
Oh man. So yeah, let's talk about that because obviously at the end, they succeed. Mystique doesn't, kill Trask and stuff, and effectively, like to the rise of the world, it's like, hey, this mutant just saved the president. By the way, that Richard Nixon guy was really good. I liked him. So yeah, it's like, okay, so mutants are, they have a better path, and obviously when Wolverine wakes up, and what happened with Wolverine is he kept all those memories, right? He kept everything.
Yeah, he remembered everything.
Yeah, because that was his past.
Yeah. So he because he's like the last thing he remembers is just drowning, and then obviously something else happened because we see Stryker taking him out of the lake, and it's actually Mystique. So history was changed. He comes back. Here's my thing: did he wake up? He woke up in the future, right? Like the different alternate version of that future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what Kitty Pryde's new power does is that it sends the consciousness back, but leaves the body. So when he wakes up, he takes his consciousness back with him.
Yeah, so it was and I should say the future is 10 years from now actually, because it's 50 years from 1973. Yes. So it's actually 10 years from now. And they weren't that technologically advanced, even though they were already kind of really technologically advanced anyway, that fucking jet plane and stuff. So yeah, everything was changed up. I like the fact that ending was like, hey, here's a shitload of cameos. Kelsey Grammer came back as Beast. We had that was. How would you think about that?
Famke Johnson. I was like, yes. I'm like, hold on. If Famke is here, then that means that one character that I hate, like pretty much because I've seen like the what's it called again when they do like the voices while the movie is playing in a special edition of the DVD. What's that thing called?
The credits?
No, it's like
Epilogue?
The commentary. Yeah. The
commentary. Okay,
yeah. Because ever since I found out that Cyclops is actually like 2 feet shorter than Famke Johnson and has to wear like platforms, it's like. Yeah, then Show Guy is going to be here. I'm somehow told. Yeah.
Well, no. Actually, this is completely off topic. I just got a message right now from Randaru, that's Ghost Dini. He was like, Stan Lee was in the movie. He was in the beginning. He was playing a news anchor. Was he? I must have missed that.
Yeah, I must have missed that too.
I didn't even see that.
I didn't even see that. Thank you for that. Okay, now I know who our one viewer is. Thank you, Ghost Dini. I'm sorry, Brian, to cut that off. Famke Janssen was there. So who was the character? It was Cyclops, right?
Yeah. Cyclops is like way shorter. Like the person is way shorter than Famke, and because of course they can't have that, he has to wear platforms. And you actually see it, I think, in X-Men 2, when like they are in full body shot, and then he walks away. His shoes are way thicker than they should be. Oh man, yeah, it's the Tom Cruise scenario because he's a really short guy, so he always has to like wear things to make himself look taller than his like leading actress. Yeah, I never really liked Cyclops in his movies, but I was still glad he's back because
it erased X3.
It erased X-Men 3. I saw that. I almost cheered. And by the way, I need to say this: Famke Janssen.
Wow, she looked good. I was like, holy shit.
It's like, how do you do that? She looked good in the Wolverine movie too. I'm like, it's like, whoa, and she's still looking hot. Her hair was a little too reddish, though. I'm like, are you dyeing your hair even more? You know?
Does it matter to him? Really?
No, it doesn't matter because, oh man,
Yeah, I know. Wolverine could go to the bathroom.
Figured out that she was in GoldenEye. I actually did not know that.
Yeah,
Did you know she was in GoldenEye?
No. Like, GoldenEye came out when I was, like, when did the GoldenEye come out?
Hey, I don't want to hear shit because I saw King Kong and that came out in 33. All right, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I don't know. It came out in the early '90s.
Yeah, no, but yeah, she is in that, and she's very memorable in that movie.
Right, she can kill you with her legs.
Exactly, that's a good way to die, man. You fucking Franco Jansen, she just kills you. I wouldn't mind that at all. Hey, look, Minnie's joining us.
Just go to heaven. It's like, yep, I died in possibly the best way ever. I got killed by some girl's legs.
Yeah, and not just any girl, Famke motherfucking Jansen. So yeah, like I said before, that's the greatest thing that this movie managed to accomplish. It erased that shitty fucking X-Men 3.
Can I say a cameo I enjoyed in the movie?
Yeah, go ahead. Which one?
When they went up to Beast's little lab and Star Trek was in the background.
Yes.
I was like, ooh.
Time
my little Star Trek. I was like, and it's a Time Warp episode.
And all the shit he was saying was relevant to the movie. That was the great part.
It's like we've gone into Time Warp. I'm like, oh my god, it's awesome.
The
cameo that I liked most was we finally got Professor X's floating chair.
Yes, the hover chair.
I was like, yes, his chair finally floats in the normal timeline now. It's like, oh, it just felt like in this movie they pretty much just retconned everything that was dumb about like the first trilogy.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, Bryan Singer said that before this movie came out. He's like, hey, listen, this movie, we're going back in time. It's about changing things. If some things get changed along the way, just saying. I'm like, everybody's like, are you going to get rid of X3? Are you going to get rid of X3? He got rid of X3. So that was great, man. I love that. So, yeah, I guess when the new movie comes out, it's not a spoiler. It's already out there. X-Men Apocalypse is probably going to take place from that point on, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From 73 on or in the future?
No. Oh, no. I'm sorry. No. It won't take place in the future because Bryan Singer said it's going to be the old cast. Yeah, okay, never mind. Forget what I was going to say. It's gonna be the not the old cast. It's going to be the younger cast. It's going to be Fassbender and what's his face has
James McAvoy, right?
Yeah. So it's going to be those guys again. So it's going to be in the past, but it works. It still kind of works though, you know, because Apocalypse. You know, let's talk about the fucking ending because man. Yeah, Apocalypse
ending.
Yeah, let's talk about that ending. Hey Manny, can you say something?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, good. Yay!
Yeah, actually, you know what? Before we go to the ending, Manny, what'd you think about the fact that this movie? Yeah, thank you for bringing it because this movie erased X-Men 3 and X-Men Origins.
Yes, it erased X-Men. It erased X-Men Origins, and it also erased parts of the Wolverine, because one of the parts of the Wolverine were he was essentially trying to get over the death of Gray.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that it erased that movie. I like that movie.
Yeah, and you remember that whole movie was all about adamantium and whatnot. Remember he had adamantium in that movie when he was fighting that adamantium silver samurai.
Silver samurai, yeah.
He doesn't have adamantium in him anymore, so it damn near erased that one too.
Wow, that kind of sucks. I like that movie. Oh wow.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
It was good, but I had issues with it. But
not as many issues as with the first one. Shit.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
Not as much with Last Stand.
Yeah.
Manny, that sucks because I like that movie, but it erased that entire movie. Because think about it, his whole reason for that movie was he was trying to get over Jean Grey, and we don't even know if he has adamantium anymore. Remember the ending with Mystique? I said this. They had a thriller moment when you see the eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't even know if Stryker did anything to him anymore.
Well, or it could have happened in a different order.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because you remember how
voluntarily gets adamantium put in him now.
That's what I was just about to say. But you remember when Beast was talking about how stuff are destined to happen, kind of in a way. He was trying to make a point that stuff are destined to happen. Maybe that adamantium, like you guys said, is destined to get put inside Wolverine. Because remember, isn't Wolverine supposed to be having one more movie or yet another movie?
I don't know. I can't say that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that he's supposed to have yet another, because they were interviewing Hugh Jackman about his thoughts of X-Men and all that stuff, and he was like, there's going to be another Wolverine, and he doesn't mind playing in more, because he thought, he was going to be done with Wolverine for a while, but now that this is basically a clean slate, he says he doesn't mind. He'll play Wolverine if the fans still want him to play as much as, as many X-Men.
No one's gonna say no. Did you see this guy?
No one's gonna say no.
I think he got more muscly in these movies.
When he woke up, I was like, God damn!
Like, dude, your veins have veins, son.
Yeah, it was
Exactly.
like, I'm glad that he said that he'll play a Wolverine as much as, X-Men as they go, since there's a clean slate now, because he was kind of iffy after X-Men 3, like everybody was.
Yeah,
But-
I don't blame him. Shit, I was iffy about that. They've managed to clean all that shit, literally clean all that shit now.
But yeah, I remember him saying that there was supposed to be another Wolverine movie in the works. That's supposed to come out, I think, before the next X-Men movie. So if that's the case, maybe, they'll explain how he gets adamantium put back inside him.
Wait, so that means next year we get this movie? Because the next X-Men movie comes out 2016. That's already been confirmed.
I thought it was 2017.
Was it? We'll have to look into that. I thought it was 2016.
Yeah, I thought X-Men Apocalypse was 2007. Yeah, but I probably have to look that up again. But I do remember them saying that there was supposed to be yet another Wolverine movie. So I don't know what that one's going to be about, but that's something that they definitely need to address, because the Universal liked Wolverine is the one with the adamantium in it, because we see how useless he is without it.
He's useless. He's just a punching bag. That's all he does. He takes bullets.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about that ending, man. And the people in my theater, they didn't know who the fuck that was either.
I knew exactly who the fuck that was.
Dude, as soon as I saw the Sands, I'm like, here we go. And obviously, it's not because I'm a big comic book nerd, and I am, but it's like, the next movie's called Apocalypse. We already know what's up. So
It has to be one person and one person only. The first mutant. It has to.
The first mutant, exactly. And then it's like you saw the Sand. I'm like, okay, I think it's about to happen. Then you hear En Salvador. I'm like, En Salvador, that's Apocalypse's name. And you see him
putting together the pyramids. I was like,
oh
He's
shit.
building the pyramids with his mind. It's like
It's just like nothing.
Here's the thing though that I found interesting. That version of Apocalypse, was that like a younger version of him? Because he was pretty
Yeah.
he looked like a kid.
Yeah, he said.
that's the younger version.
Yeah, remember when they were interviewing some of the people who created X-Men, this movie right here, they said, yeah, that was the younger version of him, but when the movie comes out, it's not going to be the younger version of him.
Dude, they need to get fucking Teal'c from Stargate to play Apocalypse, man. He looks like him already. Just paint him blue. He looks like fucking Apocalypse, man. But yeah, I like that.
Which Apocalypse would you want? Do you want the robotic-looking Apocalypse, or do you want the Egyptian-looking Apocalypse?
I want a mix of both, actually. You know what I mean? Like, I think he should be a little bit more Egyptian-y looking. Maybe not too stereotypical, but you know what I mean. Like, I think it should be a mix of both, because I was just thinking about this now, because if he comes back looking like a fucking Egyptian god, it'll be corny, but at the same time, he probably thinks himself as a god. So, gods are, they have hubris, so that kind of makes sense. And you saw the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in the end, right?
Yeah. That was nice.
Shouldn't that be,
that's gonna be good.
they be camels just for authenticity's sake?
Because 4 camel men of the apocalypse doesn't have a ring to it, my friend.
No, but
I know,
like,
right?
riding camels instead of horses, because camels make a lot more sense in like a desert scenario.
Oh yeah, no, they do make more sense, but camels aren't cool like horses are.
Exactly.
True, but
they're just humpback
they're like-
retarded horses, man.
I was there like, okay, the 4 horsemen, but they are riding camels. Like, oh. I
Don't think
myself.
about it. Don't think hard about it. Plot devices.
I thought about it.
I want to go back. Speaking of plot devices, I had a few problems with the lost technology of this movie, where there's like Beast Serum, which is essentially the serum from Last Stand, only it doesn't last as long. Again, lost. It's like that got reinvented in the 3rd movie, but yet he had it in the past.
Yeah, but then that was like his own one, and like the one
that was like his personal
made
little
was like was being made by the humans, like that didn't like it. So
who knows if they were identical? Because you remember. I think the ones that the humans made were obviously permanent, and then the one that Hank made is obviously temporarily, which is why they were taking it so much. So
Yeah,
Sure, but
it's like,
the other one wasn't permanent either because they did that stupid thing where at the end of the last time Magneto was getting his powers back.
So yeah, probably it was. It just lasted longer. Than
Yeah.
Brian, go ahead.
no, I was about to say like also because I watched X-Men Last Stand like I think like 3 times.
I'm sorry.
I know
poor
it's like 5
bastard.
times.
Why? You're hurting yourself.
Because okay, the first time, of course, it's first time, and then the second time was like people were saying that it's crap, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't crap. And then the third time, it's like I had to I tried to find one redeeming quality in it. No.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman. That was only redeeming quality. I need to see that movie once. That's all I need. It's like
I think the only part I remember that I liked was the fact when Magneto picked up the bridge and like
that was
brought it.
cool. Yeah, I admit that was
Cool.
nice. That was cool. Yeah.
It was Halle Berry. Anyway, what I was saying is that they got the serum from that mutant whose powers was negating other mutants' powers, which I find to be like completely
Plot device
confusing.
mutant. It's a plot device mutant. That's all it is. It's like that one mutant whose only ability is to travel to other galaxies. That's the only power to have. I can't travel across the street. I can travel across a galaxy. Plot device mutant. That's what that is.
Yeah, Kitty's secondary plot device.
Yeah, secondary powers. But
Yeah, exactly.
I also like that in the 70s they also had like ceramic bullets and plastic guns. Like everyone was armed with like plastic, except the guys who were guarding the president who knew that Magneto was coming after them. They didn't have plastic guns.
Yeah, exactly. Magneto was about to shoot
No
the
one
fuck out of
briefed
those
these
things.
guys. They just had a whole conversation about him earlier. Why would they not have plastic guns?
Oh yeah, and now speaking about guns and stuff, they say that the reason that JFK was killed because Magneto bended the bullet and killed him by accident, right?
Yes, I guess that's what they were, because he was like, I was trying to prevent the murder.
But in the movie, we see him like curving the bullet to hit Mystique. So wouldn't it be easier to bend a bullet and miss someone than bend a bullet and hit someone, especially Mystique's leg? Because I'm assuming that Mystique's leg is far like less in volume than JFK's head. So did anyone else like just have like an issue with that?
He seemed to, because he's so precise. Like you see him stitching his head without even looking at it. Like the guy can control his power so well, he could give himself stitches without even seeing it.
But then he's unable to curve a bullet away from someone to miss them. It's like
I mean,
they needed to go into more detail about that JFK thing. They really did, because it was like, it doesn't make sense. Like you could precisely hit someone in the calf, which is a pretty small target, and you miss a head,
and then pull the bullet that's in their calf, their whole body towards you, type stuff.
Ooh, that must have been painful. I was cringing crazy.
Yeah, Magneto was doing a lot of shit like that too. It's like just when he stuck Wolverine with all that metal and stuff. It's like, damn, dude.
But then it's like at this point, like, anything that happens to Wolverine is just like, it's Wolverine. He'll shake it off.
It still hurts. It still hurts, man.
But also, he was drowning. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I don't get that. So then Wolverine can't drown now? Because like, what happens like when he drowns?
when he drowns, he basically enters an unconscious state. You know, his body isn't dead. It's still trying. It's kind of like a cocoon, unconscious state until he can, I guess, get oxygen.
Riku, you're doing a really great job of breaking out the science this episode.
I know, right?
That's awesome. Makes sense to me.
The science of Marvel.
It's
Science of Marvel by Rick Sunwon.
But the one part that kind of irked me, going back to when you were trying to explain Kitty's secondary power, and how everyone in the theater was like, "What the hell just happened? Where did they all disappear to?" I thought that the whole time, anything that he was changing in the past wouldn't take effect until Kitty took her powers off of Wolverine, and then everything took effect. Did she? Yeah. I couldn't tell if she did or not, but did she take? When that Sentinel was shooting the laser at them and everything disappeared, did she turn off her powers?
No, she kept that shit going right until the end, man. She never let go.
Yeah, it looked like it just.
And you would think that's how her power would work, where, she's holding Wolverine in the past, and until she turns off her power and Wolverine's not in the past anymore, then everything would take effect. You would think that's how it worked, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
But that's not how it works.
Comic book logic, man.
Funny thing is that's how they said that it worked.
Yeah.
Exactly, they explained it already, but that's one thing I wanted to say since you're bringing it up. And I said this when I first saw X-Men 3. I was like, this is the most comic booky X-Men movie out of all of them, and that's why it was shitty. But this one was even more comic booky, and it worked. Like it felt like you were reading like a graphic novel, but it worked. So they obviously can do it.
That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, are you there now?
Yeah, I'm here. You can hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. And we hear you and see you, Playboy.
Yeah, man, you popping in and out like Diglett, man. What's going on, man?
I've been having some technical difficulties, so yeah.
That kind of day.
Yeah, but Manny, Apocalypse, speak. What do you think about that?
He looked like a girl.
It's a young version of him. That's why.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, there's not much to say. It's like the only thing it could have been the past, could have been the future. Don't know,
Nah, I'm gonna guess it's the past. Here's my question though.
Go ahead,
Brian.
Pyramids, so it had to be the past, right?
Yeah, it was the past.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, well, I think that one clip that they were showing was, you remember how they said he was the first mutant.
Yeah.
So that one clip that we saw, I think is obviously, him learning, how to use his powers, and this is before everything.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a way to learn how to use your powers. You build a fucking pyramid.
I know, right?
Right? That's how they explain how the pyramids were created.
Well, one thing I want to mention is I wish they explained a little better the time differential that was going on between the future and the past. Mm-hmm. Because they were obviously in the past for days. Wolverine was there for days and days doing stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But he was only on that table for what, a matter of hours?
It's time. You don't.
Yeah, it's just time. I'm gonna have to quote Captain Janeway. When you're talking about time travel, it's best not to think about it too much.
All right? Like I said, the time travel was done well in this movie. Just that it's weird when they cut back and forth. And you're like, well, Wolverine's been here for days. Have they been sitting in this room in China for days? Is everyone standing outside like, ooh, wait?
I think they were probably standing inside there for about probably the most hour.
Yeah, hours. But that should have been explained that there was a differential.
Yeah, that's another thing that should have fucking explained. Exactly.
They also make sure to not explain why I don't know Shadowcat had that mysterious ability.
Yeah, they didn't explain that at all. Yeah, we called that just she has a movie plot device power. That's exactly what she has.
You know why she had it? It's because she's a heavy now, so they needed more things for her to do. So why not give her something?
Yeah, but they could have easily just thrown one line in there. Hey, this is her second power. Remember Emma Frost? How she had that power? She has this now. That's all they needed to say, and it would have been cool.
Also, they also never mentioned why Wolverine why he mysteriously had his adamantium claws back at the end of that film too.
Did he?
He had his adamantium
at the end when he was after X-Men
No, but
3,
in the future, bad future, he had his adamantium claws. Now, how did that happen from X-Men? The Wolverine, because he didn't have adamantium at the end of that film.
I guess he got him back somehow. You're right about that.
He went to the store and bought them. Like, hey, how you doing, bub? I just got these back.
Hey, Manny, what do you think about the fact that Wolverine was really, really useless without his adamantium claws? It's like, what the fuck did he make a Sentinel, dude?
It makes sense. I mean, he's just a normal dude with a healing ability. You take away the factor that he could chop anything with his indestructible claws. Yeah, what's he gonna do? Stab him until his claws keep breaking?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we lost Riku now.
Oh.
Uh-oh. So yeah, I want to get in, to wrap it up, I want everybody to talk about what their favorite scene in the movie was. Brian, we'll start with you. What's your favorite scene?
Oh man, you just put me on the spot there nicely as well. Thanks a lot. So then, what I like to do sometimes when I can't think of anything that is my favorite scene, I like to just ramble on, and hopefully that it makes up for some interesting entertainment while Riku-san is sideways.
Hey Riku, what's up, man? How you doing?
That happened.
That's perfect timing.
Oh shit, we got the panoramic view.
Oh,
it's his phone.
I'd have to say that my favorite scene, just because I'm a huge fan of Apocalypse, is the end scene. It's like I knew it was coming, but just seeing it in action, it just made me just realize that this thing is happening. It's like the first time when I seen Venom, it's like, oh shit, Venom is actually happening. Okay, the movie was shit, but it was just seeing that character on screen. It's like it's like your favorite character just being on screen. It's like the first time I seen the Hulk out in Hulk. I was like, shit, this is happening. So It'd have to be that. I'm. Yeah.
All right, Chris. What about you? What's your favorite scene?
I think my favorite scene was near the end when Magneto just went full Magneto, and he was doing it in both time periods. I think him crashing the stadium into surrounding the White House, manipulating the Sentinels, ripping Nixon's safe house right out of the White House,
Yes.
and fucking ripping it open like a tin can, and just he had them all by the balls. And he owns Wolverine in like 2 seconds, and at the same time you jump into the future and he's owning the Sentinels in the future and safeguarding everyone in the house. I think it's just like. He's so badass, and you see him in 2 different battles at the same time, which was amazing. I think that was great.
Brian?
I have to admit that there was one thing that I didn't like is how Magneto got stabbed with metal. It's like, yeah. So
Yeah, that was kind of like, really, dude, really?
With metal, like, really? It's like
I just chalked it up that he's old. He's like, oh, I missed one. Ooh,
Oh, I missed
that hurt.
he lifted up an X-wing. Come on, like, at what point do you not think, okay, this guy is
Yeah, but young him lifted a stadium. All right, a fighter jet versus a baseball stadium.
And not to mention, he also lifted the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
That was like middle-aged
now.
Magneto. I mean, middle-aged Magneto lifted the Golden Gate Bridge. Young Magneto lifted a fucking baseball stadium.
Wait, I should say this. Hold on. Okay, because in the comics they say that Magneto can fly because he like manipulates the magnetic fields around him, right? In this movie, it didn't seem like that because remember when he got to the train, he like pulled himself to the train like a magnet, and he was only able to fly later when he had all that metal shit on him. So I guess in this movie he could fly because he has metal around him. That's what I took away from him.
I think that's what they're doing. They're using the fact that he has maybe has metal on his body to do this sort of stuff. But if you notice later on, he's not wearing metal at all. Like he's just wearing that little that little gi or whatever the hell he's wearing, and he could do it. So maybe later on he's able to levitate himself.
Yeah, I guess
by doing all that other shit, but he had to he had to literally physically lift himself around.
Yeah.
Something that I did notice is that he's actually had the same cape on in the past and in the future.
Yeah, that cape was like half of it was kind of cut. You noticed that, right?
But not in between. So like in the X-Men 1 and 2, he had a different cape. So then he had that one cape, and then he changed it back to like the full cape, and then decided to go back to the original cape like for the end.
He wanted to feel young.
They also slightly adjusted his helmet.
Yeah, they did.
Because before it was that other helmet, and it looked literally exactly like the old comic one.
Yeah,
and then
they just horns.
They just removed the that little weird square thing in the center of it, and they're like, all right, it just has that little horn thing on it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Rico, what's your favorite scene in the movie? We can't hear you, man. We see them lips moving, but we don't hear nothing. All right, Manny, you go ahead then.
My favorite scene is actually the moment that which kind of caught me off guard was the fact when he remembered William Stryker and he just started freaking out. It's like, whoa. It's like, oh shit, I didn't expect that one to happen. That's kind of an ex machina there because like I didn't expect him to kind of react that way once he saw him because it's like, all right, he's young, it doesn't really matter, but he just. As soon as he saw him on the floor and he saw it, it was like.
See, with me, when as soon as I saw him look at Stryker, I was like, "Oh shit!" I said this earlier in the show, Manny. I wanted the movie to go crazy at that point. I wanted him to kill Stryker at that moment and totally change history because it's like Stryker. I wanted him to go. I expected that, so that was that was one of my favorite scenes too.
Yeah.
Rico, what about you, man? Or can we talk? Can we hear you now? Say something. He's still trying to figure shit out.
Can you hear me?
Soundtrack provided by Manny. Oh, come on, then. All right, I'll talk about my favorite scene. It's kind of like what you said, Chris. Pretty much anything with Magneto, because this movie showed just how frightening his fucking powers are, and they got really creative with it. And just overall, all the action scenes were really good. I really like how they, used all the mutants' powers to the fullest. I guess that's the best way of explaining it. Like they really milked everyone's powers for everything there were. And the other scene I really liked was all the deaths. Those were really fucked up deaths, man.
You can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we hear you now, man. Like I like that from the original Days of Future Past, and I like that when they do that in comic books in general, like where they just kill everybody. Because obviously they could kill everyone. It's an alternate future. You can go nuts. So I really like that. It just wiped out
They were
everybody.
brutal. I mean, like, I didn't expect Iceman to get decapitated, and then Sentinel just stepped on him, and they cut off Sunspot's arm. It's like, stop shooting that shit.
Dude,
Just
they
cut his
ripped
arm off.
Colossus in half.
Oh my god, that was so brutal. I did not expect that.
Is that possible?
I was like, are his organs metal? I was trying to look when.
Whose face was it? Nothing. Was that Warpath?
Yeah, it was Warpath. Yeah, Manny was asking me, "What's Warpath's power?" I'm like, he's big and he can stab stuff. That's
Yeah,
his
he was
power.
stabbing shit. It really wasn't doing anything.
Wait, Thunderhawk and him have like the same weird, stupid like power. That doesn't have any explanation.
Yeah,
I guess they're
pretty
super
much.
strong.
Oh yeah, by the way, going on that, this one I want to ask before. I've read comics for a long time. What is Apocalypse's power? To this day, I don't really know, other than he's a big guy and he likes to.
He has
I don't know. Yeah.
He has lips.
What's his power?
He has the power of
He's
being
got
really
lips
old.
that kind of stretch around his face.
Yeah.
I thought he has the power of being really old. Like, this was his power.
He's immortal. He's immortal. He has telepathy.
He's pretty much just
He's a
this
psychic.
kind of powers.
Yeah, he has like everything.
He has this thing called technopathy or some shit like that.
Wait, he could talk to technology. That's what that sounds like.
It's something to do with that kind of like.
Are they gonna put his sentient ship in there?
Oh,
I think they're gonna focus on the Egyptian version of it more than the robotic version.
I want that scene from the X-Men cartoon to be in there.
Cable.
Like this. You're only delaying the inevitable. I, who am eternal, can never be defeated.
Yeah.
I actually can be defeated, but I don't think that'll do with my bat.
A lot of like him and Mr. Sinister have these weird, mysterious powers.
Yeah,
like, what does
what's his
Mr. Sinister do?
He
Like,
has
have
lip
a
powers.
goatee.
He has lip powers.
He has lip powers like Apocalypse.
he has the power to wear black lipstick.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, I was like, yo, Apocalypse, man, where's your Apoca jaw, man? Anyway, Riku, what was your favorite scene in the movie, man? Or scene from the movie?
Oh, definitely the Quicksilver spot. As soon as I saw like favorite scene, instantly.
Oh, that was a great scene.
Yeah, Quicksilver, man.
Another great display of mutant powers, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That shit you can't see in comic books. They could try, but you can't do it that well, you know?
Yeah.
Just that he didn't take that whole scenario seriously. Like, he was eating stuff in the middle of it while he was fucking with all of them. Like, he was doing stupid shit like, I'm gonna take this guy's hat. And, you know.
I even liked how he put on like the goggles to like prevent his eyes from getting like dewatered, you know, or like preventing his eyes from drying out. You know, I thought that touch was like, okay, these guys they know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah, exactly, because it's still, you know, they're trying to make it as realistic as they can.
Yeah.
I guess was his clothes made out of Teflon? Is that why they were silver? Like, I only assumed they were because it's frictionless.
Oh yeah, speaking about that, by the way, there was that one scene where he grabs back, he grabs the back of his head. Like, what are you doing? He's like, whiplash. You know, that's a little scene right there. It's a little touch, just like with the glasses. You know?
It's like, what? Whiplash.
Whiplash. Oh man. So yeah, for me, it's definitely my favorite X-Men movie now. And my favorite before this was X-Men 2, which I still think is great, but this one. It tops it, and the fact that it erases X-Men 3 makes it the best, man.
Yep.
I'm so happy. Like.
So everyone said that the Apocalypse movie that movie is going to take place in the past version. Of
It's going to be
right?
the 80s, I believe.
Okay, so basically what I'm trying to ask is, so by the time this Apocalypse movie, the future that Wolverine ended up at, that he was, seeing that, Jean Grey was alive and all that stuff. By that time, they've already dealt with the Apocalypse.
Yes, they've already dealt with Apocalypse. You're right about that. So we know how the movie ends.
Yeah. We know who lives.
Yeah, we know that they live.
Now the thing is, like, here's like one of the biggest questions I would say is like, what other things have changed? Because it's does it mean that he met the X-Men, that Xavier met the X-Men earlier than he would have before? Does that mean, how much, what of the events that happened in X3, what changed that stuff? Also, is it that
kind of changed?
Like,
it kind of changed half of the stuff in X-Men 2 too, when you think about it.
Yeah.
It changed a lot of stuff in a lot of movies, which is a good thing.
So yeah, it's like why? Like okay, so now obviously Jean Grey did do the Dark Phoenix stuff because she had that crazy red hair from the Phoenix.
Yeah.
So that stuff has happened. Now it's
Just
like
in a different way.
what things are and what things aren't. Maybe
Probably has
somehow,
the Phoenix Force.
yeah, maybe she has the Phoenix Force. We don't know.
Yeah, I think she has the Phoenix Force, but she didn't lose control to the point where she turned to Dark Phoenix and Wolverine had to kill her. You know,
Or maybe,
because
okay. Also, the events of X-Men 1 have been changed too, because if you think about it, the biggest thing that that Magneto wanted to do was to show that the power of mutants or something like that.
Yeah, and he did that in 73.
He did that in 73, so now it's all different.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Everything's different now. You're right about that.
Maybe they erased Halle Berry's bad acting in the first
Yeah,
one.
the fraud bullshit.
Senator Kelly's dead. Really? Is he?
Dead.
Thanks for letting us know.
Does that mean that Senator Kelly is now maybe alive?
Or I don't know.
Because
Trask
maybe-
is alive,
may-
so.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Trask is also alive, and so is Senator Kelly. Because now, Magneto probably didn't need to do the stuff from the first X-Men movie.
Holy shit! Yeah, this movie kind of erased all of them if you think about it.
It
Yeah,
literally
kind of wiped everything clean.
It literally wiped everything clean. Or
Damn.
maybe, or either something like this happens, or like maybe the whole events of even X-Men 1 may have not happened at that same time frame anymore.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it happened
Brings up a
earlier.
lot of questions. Somebody needs to do a revised timeline of the film movies.
Yeah, right.
Film series.
Isn't Mark Miller in charge of these things? Not Mark, man. Would do something, you know.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, the next movie's gonna take place in the '80s. It's gonna have the younger versions of them, and they're gonna face off against Apocalypse. It's gonna be very interesting. I want to know. This is what I think is gonna happen. He's obviously gonna take probably one of the X-Men and make them into one of his, horsemen, just to make it more personal. That's my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll be Archangel because won't he be like 10 or something at that point?
Yeah, he'd be too young.
So it might be somebody else.
Yeah, like because Archangel was obviously an older man.
Here's my theory. You know who's going to be the horseman? It's going to be Wolverine. Watch.
Oh, God.
Watch that happen. Watch it be Wolverine because he's the popular guy. You know.
What would he be? Death?
He'd be Death with those fucking claws. That's how he gets his adamantium back.
Well, also the Four Horsemen could quite possibly be the ones that we think are dead.
Oh yeah, the mutants that are dead that they showed in the files, right?
Yeah, in the files. Like, wasn't that other girl? Wasn't that kind of bird girl called Angel?
Yeah, she was.
Oh, the one with the butterfly wings? Or
The
whatever?
That's a good theory. You're right about that because you need to die first, don't you, to become one of the horsemen or
Yeah,
something?
you have something.
Oh,
like
that's
that.
a good theory.
So like you have the Nightcrawler's dad. You have,
That's true.
you have Nightcrawler's dad. You have the Angel girl. You have Havoc. No, hey, Havoc.
No, he's still alive.
He was still
He was in
alive.
Vietnam.
He was
Yeah, he was in Vietnam. Remember, like.
And then
No, you have Emma Frost is dead.
and then Emma Frost.
but she's not a horseman.
She could be a horsewoman.
She could be.
Yeah, because Pestilence was a woman.
Oh yeah.
I love that old cartoon, man. So yeah, there's a lot of shit. Ooh, I can't wait, man. I'm really like the other X-Men movie got me all hyped up, but this one is like, we live in a good age now. Comic book movies are awesome.
Yeah. Well, I have to say,
They're not going nowhere.
Yeah.
I'll still say I think I enjoyed this equally as much as Winter Soldier. I did like it a lot.
I like this a little bit more just because I like the X-Men more, but I'm not taking anything away from Winter Soldier. That was a fantastic movie,
And
man.
considering it's Captain America, like they really knocked it out of the park with him, man.
Yeah, it's two different movies though, because this one was clearly a comic book movie. Winter Soldier didn't even feel like a comic book movie. It felt like an espionage movie.
It was like the Rogers Identity, you know?
Yeah, Rogers Identity. Exactly.
There's another thing about the Hugh Jackman interview I read a couple days ago. Oh, it was probably yesterday. But in there, also when he said that he would like to, do more stuff with Wolverine and X-Men related stuff, he also said inside there that he would love to see a battle between him and the real Deadpool that we know, the comical, funny dual pistol one, and they can kind of do that since they erased all of the origins. They can kind of
History was erased to the point where Ryan Reynolds is no longer Deadpool. Let's hope that happened. Like his DNA got changed along the way too.
Yeah, hopefully we get the real Deadpool. See, and that could be he could be inside the next Wolverine movie, the real Deadpool.
You know what they could do? Just have fucking Ray Park dress as Deadpool. Don't ever take that mask off, and just have Nolan North voice him over.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, that would be great.
All right, we're about to wrap this up. So yeah, another kick-ass movie. Go fucking see it. All right, guys. So thank you for watching. Spoiler alert tonight. I was joined by Brian Munjoma.
See you later, people. I gotta do the damn review now.
Yes, you do, you bastard. Chris Seeley.
Hey, enjoyed it.
Michael Crawford, aka Riku's son, win the only one.
Quicksilver for the win, people.
Emilio Lopez. He's here.
Good movie. Yes, definitely good movie.
And my dumbass, Tony Polanco. All right, guys. I don't know what the next movie, spoiler alert's going to be. It's going to be something.
I mean, what's the next one?
You could do Guardians of the...
I think that's the next one, yeah.
Guardian? Unless we want to do one for Tom Cruise one.
Oh, yeah. We probably are going to go see that, aren't we?
Because that's next week, right?
I'll go see that shit.
Yeah,
I'm down.
Yeah,
because that's based on a light novel, so it's Japanese, so I'll go see that.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, and I say this right now because a lot of people shit on Tom Cruise. I like Tom Cruise. I don't care what anyone says. I like him. Top Gun.
He runs too much for my opinion.
All right, and as usual, we got your usual Game of Thrones spoiler alerts. None this weekend, obviously, because fuck you, Memorial Day. So that shit's coming back next week, and episode 9 is coming. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know what's up. Trask is in that. We switched it around, Riku. We kept calling him Tyrion. Now it's Trask, right? Yeah. All right, guys. So thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Later, guys.
Later.
Bye, people.